Welcome back to part 2 of my blinged and charmed Christmas ornament for 2023. This is my sample and it's not quite complete, but I want to give you a little preview of what the real ornament is going to look like. But right now, these are my experimental colors and counts. And what we're going to do is get started on the real ornament that I'm going to make. I would like to do this with one thread. However, I'm not going to be able to do it with one thread while I'm recording the video. But because you need a little bit more than 3 yards of thread to do this whole thing. So I will be using shorter lengths of thread and I will add on. But if you can, try to get one length, try to get those 3 yards on your needle, because that's what it's going to take in order to do this. So thread your needle. The materials list is in the part 1 video. This part of the video, part 2, is going to take a pretty long time. However, I'm going to try to make the video as short as possible by doing one step at a time and letting you be autonomous, putting you on repeat so that you'll be able to finish this on your own without being bored out of this video. As usual, I thank you for all of your support, all of you who have come, who have subscribed, who have shared. I really appreciate this. So gather your materials. We're going to be using everything this time, the charms, the 15-ohs, everything. And so gather all of your stuff and thread your needle, and when I come on, I'm already going to have my thread loaded with the starting beads for the top of this ornament. All right, thank you. See you in a minute. To begin, I have strung on my sequence of beads. I started with my SuperDuo, and let's see, started with the SuperDuo, and I continued with an 11-oh, a Bicone crystal, and an 11-oh, and I did this 12 times, starting with my SuperDuo and adding the 11-oh Bicone and 11-oh. And so as you can see, I have done this and I have my sequence of 12. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to make a knot. I'm just going to turn this around, tie a simple knot. I don't need much of a tail. I'm going to weave that in. I'm not even going to double loop it this time, because I am going to need to go through these beads and I don't want a big knot to be in the way. There are some people out there who are cringing because I'm tying a knot, but please, don't worry. This is my project and it's going to come out just as nice. So after tightening down that first knot, I'm going to tighten down the second one, and I've got my tail thread coming out here. I'm going to pull on it so that we have a sufficient knot, but also I don't want it to be too tight that I can't get through some of these beads. And what I'm going to do is hold on to my tail thread and go ahead and advance my needle and thread through a few of these until I can get to a SuperDuo where I feel like I want to exit. This should be good. I want to exit a SuperDuo, and I have to make a note of these beads that I'm using, these seed beads. These are my color B seed beads. I'm not going to use that many of these because I just, I want it to have some color, but I don't want to use too many of them. I'm going to use them on the top and a little bit in the middle and on the bottom. So just take note, these are my color B seed beads. Okay, and I am currently repositioned out of a SuperDuo. It could be any SuperDuo, doesn't matter. And also I have taken my ornament and I've separated it from its hanger piece. I just took this out and just wanted to so that I'll be able to work with it. And when I put my beginning on top here, it looks perfect. It's not in this part here where when I put that hanger part piece back on that it covers the beads up. We don't want that. We just want it to be perfect, like this. Remember, we want to have, we don't want it to be too tightly tied together because we want to be able to get through our beads, and we will be going around. I'm not going to reinforce because the reinforcement will be done in the subsequent rounds. So this is the reason why I want it to be this way. The way it is laying is going to make the foundation of what we're going to do as we spread out. We're going to do a little netting, a little right angle weave, and we'll get it done. So hold on just a minute while I get myself back together, and I will turn the camera right back on. Since we are using a lot of materials, I had to just clean up the items that I had on my bead board, rearrange some things because I don't want to get caught up too many tangles and loops. All right, now that we have passed through several of our SuperDuo beads, we're going to pass our needle into the open hole of that same SuperDuo where I am repositioned. And from here, still using our contrast color seed beads, I'm going to string on 6 of them. 3, 4, 6, and I'm going to get a Bicone crystal, and this time I'm going to string on 9. Then I'm going to string on 2 SuperDuos, making sure that my holes are open, and then I'm going to go backwards. Now I'm going to string on 9, and a Bicone, and 6 still of my color B seed beads. I'm going to, now that I have all of this strung on, I'll pull it down so you can see. This is what we're working with. 6 seed beads, a Bicone, 9 seed beads, 2 SuperDuos, 9 seed beads, a Bicone crystal, and 6 seed beads, all in my contrasting or color B color. And what I'm going to do is circle around. You see how I went into the open hole here of this SuperDuo, I'm going to just circle around and go back into the other side of it. And when I pull, I'm going to create an entanglement. And I broke my own rule by adding all of that thread, just because I don't want to tie thread on, because I really want to put this ornament on my tree. I do. And I don't want to have all of the tied ons. I want to be able to put this ornament in a box, save it for next year, and put it on my tree next year, Lord willing. And that's the reason why I just don't want to make all of those threads tying on. That's why we need all of those. All right, now that I have unbound myself from the entanglements, all right, now remember when I said we didn't need to reinforce the beginning, the foundation here? It's because what we're going to do is we're going to go through to the next stage, bead that we need to be in. So what I'm doing is I'm going back into the hole of this SuperDuo where we started, and I'm pulling my thread to make sure there are no gaps in the thread. You want it to be taut, but you don't want it to be choking. You would like for your SuperDuos to sit like this and not be squeezed, so that they are like this. You want them to just be sitting just like this, open in a V. And then once you pass your needle back into that beginning hole of the SuperDuo, you're going to advance your needle and thread through the next 11-0 Bicone crystal SuperDuo and 11-0 Bicone crystal, 11-0, and we're going to reposition in this SuperDuo. And that is a step that I'm going to place us on repeat, where we are going to pass into the open hole of the same SuperDuo where we're exiting. Oops, sorry. I'm going to string on our sequence of beads, still using our contrast our color beads, size 11 seed beads. I'm going to string on 6 of them. I'm going to get my Bicone crystal. I'm going to get 9 of these seed beads. I'm going to get 2 of my SuperDuos. And we're going to go back again at our seed beads. I'm going to get 9. And a Bicone crystal and 6 more of our seed beads. And this is our sequence. And I'm going to pull them down, and just to make sure that we have the proper setup here. Oh, and another entanglement, of course. Yeah, because I have my tail thread caught up in that. All right, we have all of our seed beads here, you see, and seed beads and crystals and SuperDuos. This is for our our foundation netting. I'm going to now, where my thread is exiting in this second hole, I'm going to circle around and pass back through it, that SuperDuo, in the same direction, and pull my thread. And this is what we have. Remember, we don't want to pull on these so tightly that the SuperDuos are like this. We just want to make sure that we have them, that they're sitting in a V. And once we get here, we're going to pass back into the top hole of that SuperDuo, and we're going to advance our needle into the next 11-0 Bicone crystal, 11-0 SuperDuo, 11-0 Bicone crystal, 11-0, and SuperDuo. And this is where we are repositioned to continue to do the same step. Repeat this until you get to the last SuperDuo that you'll be using in line, and it will be this one, and we're going to continue to pass through until we get to the first SuperDuo that we skipped. So when I bring my camera back, turn the camera back on, we will have made all of our foundation netting, and we're going to do it through this SuperDuo, this SuperDuo, this SuperDuo, this SuperDuo, and then we're going to reposition ourselves through these and end up right here at this SuperDuo, where between our first two foundation nettings. And I'll see you there. I completed my first round of netting, and I am in my repositioned place right here in between the first two netting rounds that I made, and I'm exiting the same hole of that SuperDuo right here, that hole that we've been going through. I'm exiting it, and I'm going to reposition by entering now into the open hole right there, open hole of the SuperDuo bead. Now, before I continue, I've got another needle over here attached to my tail thread, and the only thing I'm going to do with this tail thread is pass it through these beads over here, as many as I can in the one pass, trying not to miss any. And I'm just going to pull that through, pull off my needle, find my scissors, whatever I did with them in this mess, nip that off, just get it right out of the way. Now, with this repositioned working thread exiting here, I'm going to continue now with my main color of seed beads, or my color A. I'm going to string on 6 of them, and the reason I'm stringing on 6 is so that I can go through the bicone that's already here. So I have 6, and I'm going to pass these into this bicone crystal right there. And now's the time we're going to add our charms. And just let me pull them up for you. So I've got my charms out now, and I've taken the liberty of stringing on 5 of my seed bead, my main color or color A seed beads, and 1 of my charms. With the thread exiting down this bicone here, I'm going to pass the needle up into the corresponding bicone on the other side and just go through that bicone and pull a thread. And we'll have this set up here, and then I'm going to string on my main color beads, 6 of them, because we have 6 on the other side, and pass my needle back into that SuperDuo bead where we started. And this kind of looks familiar, doesn't it? Like we did in the foundation netting step. We're just adding our charms on in this step. Once I'm here, my thread is exiting this bottom hole of this SuperDuo bead. I'm just going to enter into the top hole of it, and I'm going to advance. And where do you think I'm going to advance to? I'm going to advance all the way to the next open SuperDuo. It doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do it in one pass, which is okay. It might be better anyway. See, it was because I'm getting some more entanglements. All right, set it just like that, and continue to advance through these beads. And I am exiting the open SuperDuo here. And I just pull the thread just like that. Once here, I'm going to reposition by going into the open hole of the SuperDuo. And then from here I'm stringing on 6 of my main color beads, and I'm going to pass the needle into down here into the Bicone crystal, my aurum color. Now 5 of my main color seed beads, and I'm just doing this. You can use whatever seed bead color you like. You don't even have to have 2 seed bead colors. But then I'm going to get my next charm and pass my needle up into the next corresponding Bicone crystal. Pull my thread, and this is what we have. And guess what we're going to do? We're going to continue this all the way around, and I will turn the camera back on and show you the next step from there. Now I'm here. I have strung on my last charm, which is my candy cane, and I have passed my needle through the bicone, and I have added the 6 seed beads like we have been doing, and passed back through the bottom hole of that SuperDuo bead. Now we need to complete this attachment by passing our needle through the top hole of the SuperDuo. And I went through a couple extra beads, which is okay, you can do that. But now we're going to reposition ourselves again in a SuperDuo bead. We're going to do the same thing we've been doing. We are exiting the top hole of the SuperDuo, And we're going to pass around, come around, and go into the bottom hole of the SuperDuo and continue advancing, making sure not to miss any beads. So I just turned it so that I could work comfortably. I'm going to pass my needle down into these 6 seed beads and the Bicone crystal, and continue advancing through the 9 seed beads below the Bicone crystal. Making sure to get all of them. Let me make sure I have them all on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes. And if possible, get through these 2 SuperDuos and exit after the second SuperDuo. We're going to reposition our needle by passing through the open hole of the first SuperDuo. Once here. Now, remember this? Remember that right there? We're going to string on one of these and pass our little component into the next SuperDuo. And when we pull our thread, this is what we're going to have. Once here, we're going to pass into the top hole of that same SuperDuo and go back into it and the next. So we're going to just reposition our needle and go through those 2 SuperDuos where we started. What I want to do now is just take a look break. Just want to take a look break to see what we got going on here. Yeah, that's exactly the look that I really like there. I really like that. Okay. All right. I feel comfortable with that look, and we will continue. It looks a little okay. It looks fine. I feel comfortable. Yep, I feel comfortable with that. All right. It's a little heavy because those charms are glass, but it'll work out. It's going to even all out and it'll be fine. All right. Let me put that off to the side and continue. Now, right here where we are, just want to stretch that a little. I want you to see exactly what we're working with. It looks a little congested here, but that'll be fine. I'm continuing now. I'm going to get my color B seed beads out of the way for right now. And I'm going to continue with my main color seed beads, and I need to get some of these out. And once I get some of these out, we're going to use a lot of them. I'm just knocking the camera around. Sorry, as I have on my my mad scientist glasses with the magnifiers on them. They are getting in the way. All right. With the thread exiting the top hole of the SuperDuo. See, that's where I just put on that little SuperDuo component that we made. I'm going to string on a series of seed beads and components. I believe, I'm not going to say I believe, I'm going to string on maybe 14. All right, I've got 14 of my main color seed bead. And I'm just going to let them do this. And then I'm going to get another component, and I'm going to pass the needle into the open hole of the component and pull that down. And I'm going to get 14 more of my seed beads. 5. With these seed beads added, I'm going to jump right over here where my set of SuperDuos is hanging, and I'm going to pass through the top hole of those 2 SuperDuos and pull. Of course, stick myself. I haven't done that in 5 minutes. And it might not look like this when it's on the ornament, but don't worry, because in the subsequent steps we're going to be stretching these down. See that? I just want to make sure that you can see. I want to really highlight them, the charms with this draping. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to continue this, passing our seed beads and components that way. And of course I tangle it up. All right, now once here, exiting out of this top hole of the set of SuperDuos, I'm going to reposition by passing into the open hole of the first SuperDuo. And when I pull that, I just want to make sure that these beads are in, that there are no gaps, there's no slack. And I'm going to get another component and pass the needle into the component, because we're going this way, making sure that it's facing forward, making sure that our Montee crystal is facing forward. We don't want to put these on and the crystal is facing the back. We want to see this beautiful crystal. And once we do that, pass our needle back into the 2 SuperDuos, just like that, and continue from there. I'm going to grab onto 14 of our seed beads, and this is going to this is simple. This is what you're going to do. You're going to pick up your 14 seed beads like we did here. We're going to string on the SuperDuo component and get 14 more and pass through the SuperDuos. Reposition your thread, your needle, into the open hole of the SuperDuo on that side. Pull through one of these SuperDuo components, pass up into the top holes again, and exit and start all over again. 14. It's just going to be the same thing that you are going to do all the way around. And when we get all the way around, I'm going to turn the camera back on and we'll continue from there. I am at the last of my 12 components, and I'm going to pass my needle into these two SuperDuo beads, and we're going to do a look check before I continue. So, get my ornament, get them all shaken out on here. Boy, these are in there. All right, so this is what we have. Of course, this is where I ended, so I'm just going to pull my thread. But this is where we are. This is what we're doing. This is what we're working with, and we're going to continue from there. I want my charms to dangle. I want them to be popping out so that you'll know that they're charms. I want them to look exactly as what they are. And when you look at the way that my SuperDuo components are formed, you've got up components, down components, up components, down components, up, down, up, down. If that's exactly what you want, this is what we're going to be doing, because we are going to do a freestyle drape in between these SuperDuo components. So in order for us to get started doing that, I'm going to move my ornament out of the way, and I'm going to lay it down here because it's easier to work that way, but I have to keep picking it up and doing the look check to make sure exactly where we are. You can see it doesn't look the same on the component, on the ornament, as it does on the bead mat. So with my thread exiting this SuperDuo of the set here, I need to reposition myself by continuing through these 14 main color seed beads, and we're still going to be working with that color for now. And I'm going to pass my needle, advance my needle all the way through the 14 and exit out of the SuperDuo. And at this point, I'm going to go into the bottom hole of that SuperDuo, if you can see that, and pull my thread, and then I'm going to just turn it this way so that I can enter into this seed bead right here, right there. The 15-0 is up top and the 11-0 is right below it. That's where we want to be exiting out of that 11-0. I'm going to be working now with some of my 15-0s, and I'm going to turn the camera off so I can rearrange some of the beads on my bead mat and untangle my mess here, and I'll turn the camera on in a second. Now that I have done some rearranging on my bead mat, our thread should be exiting this size 11 seed bead right here below the 15-0 that is surrounding my Montee bead with, and you know what, let's do a check. All right, that's halfway adorable. I really like this. I like the way it is. So now we're going to do our drape and the next set of netting. The bead count is going to be different with regards to the, of course, the longer, the lower components and the upper components. But what we are going to do is just make a cute drape. It doesn't really matter how much of the bottom surface I cover right now, but what I want to do is make sure that we know exactly what we're doing. If I do 20, if I do a net down here of 20 seed beads on each side, I'm going to do a net of 24 seed beads on the other side, on the upper components. So if I do 20 on the longer components, I'll do 24 on the upper. So then there's going to be a different number of draping seed beads from one side to the other. There may be, there may not be, we'll see. I'm just going to have to eyeball that for now because these charms are sitting a little differently from my prototype, and so I'm going to have to do some designing on the fly when it comes to these drapes and the bottom netting. So just bear with me, we'll get it right. It's going to be cute, don't worry. We'll take care of everything together. Even if you're using Toho seed beads, that's fine. The count is not going to change. So with my thread exiting that size 11-0 seed bead, we're going to cover up the hole, cover up the outside of the SuperDuo bead. I'm stringing on 2 15-0 seed beads. I'm going to pass my needle into the side SuperDuo. It's the same SuperDuo that we're in, but I'm going from the 11-0 that I came out of into the open hole of that SuperDuo. I don't want to confuse you. I just want to make a cute component, a cute ornament. Now, once here, with my thread exiting there, I'm going to string on 3 of my size 11 seed beads, and I'm using my main color. And I'm going to pass the needle into the bottom SuperDuo in the open hole. I'm going to pull there. From here, now remember, this is one of my I believe this was one of my lower. This is a lower component. I'm going to string on the short number of size 11 seed beads, and I'm still using my main color. I'm going to string on 20 of my size 11 seed beads. 4, So with the 20, I'm just going to pull them down so you can see exactly what we're doing. I'm going to get one of my 3mm crystals, Bicone crystals, and I'm going to string on 20 more. Remember when we did netting up here? That's the same thing I'm doing now, netting down here. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right, I have 20 on this side. Let me make sure. Okay. All right, so I've got 20 size 11 seed beads, a 3mm Bicone crystal, and 20 more of my seed beads. My working thread is exiting this side of this SuperDuo, and I'm going to circle around, pass my needle back into that same hole of that SuperDuo, going from back to front, and pull my thread. At this point, I'm getting 3 more of my size 11 seed beads, and I'm passing my needle into the side seed bead, going up, and of course getting some tangling. And once I'm here, I'm going to string on 2 15-0 seed beads and pass my needle into this size 11 seed bead, the SuperDuo, and if possible the 11. I can't get it. I was going to go through the 11 on the other side, but I have to make another pass, and I'm going to go back into that. Remember that size 11 seed bead that we started in over here before we added these 2 15-0s? Well, that's the same size 11-0 seed bead I need to be going into right now, and I'm not going to be able to go through those 2 15-0s, but that's what we're going to do. I have to make another bead pass. I'm going to go into those 2 seed beads and down into the SuperDuo only. And this is where we will be repositioned. This is where we are repositioned to move on to the next step. And we're going to take a look. Now, the next place we're going is right here. Remember I said we're doing a drape? So I'm going to start off with maybe 12. Okay, I have 12 of my seed beads on. And I want to go, because right now my thread is my working thread is facing down, and I want to go up here, but I want there to be some type of drape, and 12 doesn't seem like a lot. Well, okay, that'll do it. All right, 12 seed beads, 12 size 11-0 seed beads. And where is my needle? Please. Okay, I dropped it. But the seed beads, I'm glad I had the seed beads already up here. Passing my needle up into this SuperDuo. I think I can hold on to it better this way. And when I pull the thread, all right, that's cute. I like that. I like the way that's doing. And it's not too many seed beads. All right, that's cute. It kind of looks like an angel wing. So that's what we're working with right here. Kind of working with like an angel wing. Kind of like that. So you see where we are? I came out of this SuperDuo bead right here, and if I put it down, if I take it off of the ornament, you're not going to be able to see exactly what I was working towards. So I've got my working thread exiting this SuperDuo right here. I strung on 12 size 11 seed beads, and I passed my needle up into the side of that SuperDuo bead right there, and I'm going to, just like I did over here, string on 2 15-0 seed beads. And once I string on those 2 15-0 seed beads, I'm going to pass my needle into, so now I have to take it, I have to remove it so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to pass my needle into this size 11 seed bead right here, and if I can, advance through the SuperDuo and the size 11 seed bead that is on the other side. Think we can? Yes, we did. So right now this is how we are going to reposition ourselves, and guess what? We're almost at the point of being on repeat in order to do this step, and we're not too far from being done. We're far, but not too far. We have a few less things to do to this project than we did when we started. All right, I'm lifting it up so you can see what I'm doing. I just added these 2 size 15-0. Let's see. I just added these 2 size 15-0 seed beads right here. These are the 2 I just added. I went through this seed bead down here. Remember, this SuperDuo component is an entity all on its own, so whatever we're doing now has nothing to do with it except the outside open holes. And so if you see a size 15-0 seed bead up here, that is the 15-0 that is holding the Montee bead embellishment. So we're not going to use the 15-0s that are on the Montee bead. We're adding our 15-0s from the size 11-0s. So I came up through this hole of the SuperDuo. I added these 2 size 15-0 seed beads. I advanced my needle through this size 11-0 back here, through that SuperDuo and the 11-0 on the other side, and now I'm pulling my thread, and I'm going to string on 2 more 15-0 seed beads. With these, I'm going to pass my needle into the SuperDuo, just like this, pull my thread, and position it just like this, and just give me a minute. I'm going to have to pause for a second and move on. Well, just for a minute. I'm going to string on 3 size 11 seed beads, and I'm going to pass my needle into this bottom SuperDuo bead, pull my thread, and remember, now we are working with an upper component. With my upper component now, I'm going to string on more seed beads. I'm going to string on more seed beads. So I'm going to string on 24. So 24, 2, 4. It's taking me a little longer to string these, but I've got 24 of my main color 11-0 seed beads. I'm going to get one 3mm Bicone crystal and 24 more of these size 11 seed beads in the main color. 2, 3, 4. Okay, I've got the 24 on this side. And the same as that side over there, my working thread is exiting this way out of this SuperDuo bead, and I'm going to circle around and go pass back into that same SuperDuo bead. Once here now, I need 3 more size 11 seed beads. And I'm going to pass up into my SuperDuo. And advance all the way through into the 2 size 15-0s, the size 11-0, and continue advancing through the SuperDuo. Well, that's what I did. Advance through the SuperDuo, and now I'm going to catch on to the size 11-0 and the 2 15-0s back there. Nope, I'm just going to be able to get the 11-0. And now the 2 15-0s right there. And pass down into the SuperDuo only so that we can reposition and get ready for our next wing drape, or whatever we're going to call it. So I'm going from here now. We just worked on one of the upper components, right? We just worked on one of these upper components, and we're about to go into the lower component, and I still want to do the draping. So let me see how many I need if I'm going to do the same number, 10 or 12. 7, 8. Okay, so I have 10 on, and I don't know, because remember, this is different than my prototype, because the prototype didn't have the actual charms, and I had to modify my count. So with my seed beads exiting, I want to go up into the SuperDuo, and guess what? 10 isn't enough. I'm going to need 12. All right, so it looks like our draping is going to have the same number of seed beads. So with my working thread exiting this SuperDuo, coming out from down here, we're going to string on 12 of our size 11-0 seed beads, pass our needle up into the SuperDuo bead, going this way. I set up already, right? Yeah. So that's what we're gonna do. What you don't want is when you do this, when you're making your own counts and you do this, you don't want the SuperDuo, the bottom of the SuperDuo to be slanted. Okay, I'll go for a slight slant, but knowing that when I get my netting going down here, it's going to straighten out. So right now our count is going to be 12. So to make our drapes. So you've seen me do this before. It's almost like we're starting all over again. Remember, this is where I started, down here in the lower SuperDuo component. I started in the lower. Let me take it off. All right. This is where I started. Remember, this SuperDuo component sits lower than this one. And so what I did was, when I get to my lower components, I put less seed beads for my netting. So when we get here, we're going to do the same thing. 20 seed beads, a bicone, and 20 more, and we're going to go back in and do exactly what I'm doing now. When we finish that, we're going to come across here with 12 seed beads and go up into our SuperDuo on that side. And we're going to do the same thing I'm about to do now. But when we do this higher component, this one is going to need 24 seed beads and a bicone and 24 more on that side. Then I went around and I embellished that, and then I came out here. Now I have 12 seed beads again, and here we are again. I need to string on 2 of my size 15-0 seed beads. It's not hard, it's just making sure that you have the proper count. So I have 2 of my 15-0s. I'm going to advance my needle into this 11-0 right here, that's behind the 15-0 of the Montee. I'm going to pass that needle into the 11-0. I'm going to try to get that SuperDuo and the subsequent 11-0. See if I can get that. Come on. Nope. I'm only able to get the 11-0 and the SuperDuo, and that's okay, because I don't want to break anything. Now I'm going to get that size 11-0 on the other side of the SuperDuo bead. See? And once I'm here now, we need 2 size 15-0 seed beads. And we're going to pass the needle down right here into the SuperDuo. From here, we're going to start our embellishment again. And this is where we need 20 seed beads, because this is a lower component. So if you remember where we were, I started right here. I strung on 3 size 11 seed beads. I'm coming out of the side SuperDuo bead, and I'm going to go into the bottom SuperDuo bead. Once here now, I'm going to do my drape, and this drape is on a lower SuperDuo component, so I need 20 seed beads, a bicone, and 20 more. So we'll continue to do this all the way around until we are done adding all of our netting on these 12 components. Now I'm at the point of the project where I need to attach these two components together. You see everything has like a double drape. The only thing that's missing here is the double drape. And how do I achieve that? I need to string on 12 of my main color seed beads, which I have done, and I need to pass my needle up into the SuperDuo right there. Let's see if I can get a little closer. Yep, pass into that SuperDuo right there and pull my thread, and that completes that final draping, and it connects my entire project together. I'm going to, you know what, we just need to take a look. Get my ornament. That's it. That is, I'm going to back off some. That's what we're working with. Yep, everything is on. And this is what it should look like with all the draping or the netting, because now at the bottom, this is what this is. This is netting. We're going to put it all together by connecting the bicones at the bottom with seed beads. And for that, I'm going to use my color B seed bead, just like I did up at the top. So I'm just going to be using my color B seed beads and my Ornament colored 3mm bicones. I was going to use 2 colors of the bicones, but I think the Ornament color is fine. But this is the way that I want this ornament. Right now we need to, I'm satisfied with this look. Right now I need to move my ornament out of the way and get my thread into position, my needle into position to continue so we can complete this last step. The first thing I need to do is pass through these 15 O's and the 11 O behind it, and if I can get through the SuperDuo, no, I don't want to take any chances. Oh yes, I did. I got through the SuperDuo. And pull the thread here. I want to, if you ever notice, sometimes I will hold my finger like this. That's because I want to only be pulling the thread in the direction that I need it to be going. I don't want to be pulling back this way, so I'll hold the thread so that the thread is only, so it's not, the thread is not shredding by going in the opposite direction. But now let's continue through this 11O seed bead right there, and I'm only going to go through that 11O right now because my needle isn't pointing in the proper direction to go into the 215s as we are right now. And I'm going to turn it this way so that I can work comfortably, and I'm going to pass my needle down into that SuperDuo on the side. I'm going to continue advancing into these 3 seed beads here, remember those, into the bottom hole of the SuperDuo, and all of the seed beads on this side, making sure not to miss any, because that would be a disaster. Just turn it over to make sure that the needle has gone through all of the seed beads. It would be a disaster because I'll do it like this for you. It would be a disaster because if you miss one, then you'll have your bead sticking out like that, and you'll be able to see your thread, and that defeats the purpose of beauty, isn't it? Won't it? And I've done that. Listen, I'm telling you, I have done the most. If it can be done wrong, I have done the most, believe me. But right here, I'm going to continue to advance my needle into all of these seed beads and exit from that 3mm Bicone bead. Now, I know we just looked. I know I just had it on the ornament, but I have to do it again because I need to really see exactly what we're working with. I think that is adorable. All my drapes and my charms. I have the charms sticking out the way that I want it. I really like that. I hope you like it. I hope you try to make this, because it's really easy. It's just a lot of steps, that's all. All right, with my thread exiting this 3mm Bicone here, and the thread is going in to my left, from right to left, and I'm going to just remove this from the ornament so that I can string on a few beads. Now, I'm going to try to let you see exactly what's going on, and I'm going to leave this on the bead mat for as long as I possibly can. And I'm going to show you exactly what we're going to do. I'm going to rely on the counts that I used in my prototype ornament cover for this step. And I'm going to do that by stringing on. Ooh, I'm making a mess. And I'm using my contrast color, if I didn't already say. I'm going to string on 3 of them, a Bicone, 3 more. Ooh, not this one. Look at that. That skinny little seed bead right there. I'm not going to use that one. I'm just going to get rid of it. They're all in the same container, but sometimes you get those. So this is what I have. 3 seed beads, a 3mm Bicone, that's better, and 3 seed beads. And I'm going to pass my needle into the next 3mm Bicone in the next netting set, and pull my thread. Right now we're not going to be able to really see how that's going to look. I could put it back on the ornament, but I'll wait until I do a few more. And this is how you're going to finish this out. You're going to pick up your seed beads, your Bicones and your seed beads, and you're going to pass your needle from where it's exiting in the 3mm Bicone, or whatever bead you're using there, into the next 3mm Bicone. You're going to do this almost all the way around, because this is going to close out the bottom. You don't want to have your beading done all around the bottom and your ornament setting off to the side. No, that's not what we want. We just want to work with a little ease before we put our beadwork on our ornament. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to turn off the camera and show you, and come back and show you as far as I went before I actually put the cover this draping over the ornament. So hold on, I'll be right back. I've gone ahead and I've added all of the beads that I needed and passed them through their respective places. And I just haven't pulled the bottom of it tightly. And I'm going to insert the ornament now. And just flip it over. Come on. There you go. And then I'm just going to use my dexterity and pull these tightly. I'm just going to go around, make sure that the charms are still sitting on the outside of my draping, and I think that's the way I want it. It's loose on the bottom, but you know, that's okay, because the only thing we don't want it to do is fall through. I have a big space, a big opening, but I think that's okay, because when you get it on the tree, who's going to be looking at the bottom of it? And the only thing I'm going to do now, and you don't have to watch me do that, is go around the bottom of this and reinforce, just, you know, pass my thread through, work some of my thread away, and just making sure that there's that the bottom of my project is secure. And when I am done, we will see you and we will finish this video. I have gone around the bottom of my ornament and I have reinforced all of the threads. I've tied some knots, and this is what we're working with. Oh, that's too small. This is what we are working with. Make it a little bigger. Okay, I think that's right where we started. All right, this is the bottom of it. It's enclosed. My ornament is enclosed, and this is the top where we have all of our charms, our bling and our charms, and I really like it. The only thing I have to do now is to put this centerpiece back in, and it is complete. Here you are, my little blinged and charmed. Let me move these things out of the way. Blinged and charmed ornament. I really hope that you like my project, my ornament for 2023, and I'm not quite sure if I'm going to be making any more videos for the month of December, but right now this is where we are. I would like to make a few more with earrings, but I don't seem to have the time, so this may complete my Vlogmas for 2023. I'm sad if it is, but if not, I mean, if it is, then that's fine. We'll start new again in 2024. So if this is my last video, I'd like to say Merry Christmas to you all, and I thank you for all of your support on my channel, and I look forward to new creativity in the future for 2024. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And as usual, I'd like to thank you for hanging out with me, and come again someday soon for my next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.